Hello and welcome to another episode of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at Dynasty Dad FF. Joined as always by my main man at FFSnoog. And, we did the running backs, we did the wide receivers, and everybody says, yo, Dad, you guys didn't cover foundational quarterbacks. And with this foundational series, we're talking about guys that, are going to be on your team for long term, guys that fit both dynasty rebuilds and contenders, guys that are going to win you the championships. Today's particular show, it's foundational dynasty quarterbacks to smash. And Snoog, some of those staples, Lamar Jackson's been struggling. We've seen some of these guys that, your aging vets like Dak and Stafford absolutely dominating. It's good to see we're getting a fresh insurgence of guys like Jaxson Dart, Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, really reinvigorating the dynasty quarterback landscape.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of young guys up and coming, kind of helping us reshape it. Obviously, we've lost, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, a lot of first ballot Hall of Fame talents over the past, 5 to 6 years. Roger on his way out, Roethlisberger's out. Like, we need substance. We need quarterbacks kind of filling in outside of Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, the 6 guys that have been kind of spearheading the way for the past 4 to 5 years. Now we got guys like Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, a lot of these guys in the, mid to early 20s kind of up and coming. Right now, it's kind of a battle of the landscape right now. You got Dart coming in looking great. So I'm excited. We're about to have a horrible QB class in 2026. So right now, it's honestly looking like these guys that we're about to talk about, Dad, for the next year or two until 27, 28 rolls around for us. So I'm excited. Nothing's changed with number one guy here that we're going to talk about here shortly, but there is some up and coming. So let's break down the criteria of a foundational QB.
Let's crack open the C4. I got my cereal killer brand today. Fantastic. Tastes like Fruit Loops. That's the breakfast of champions anyways. But when you get into this, you start to look at your foundational quarterback building blocks. And a lot of people are going to look at this and think that this is just our rankings. And this is not just our rankings. There is a criteria when it comes to foundational players. And Snoog and I have really nailed this over the last years, talking about foundational assets, guys that you build around, not guys that you win for 1 year. We all love Matthew Stafford, and Daniel Jones has been great, and Sam Darnold has been great. But if you invest in those guys as your quarterbacks, the rest of your team better be solid in foundational assets at the wide receiver. Snoog and I like to build our teams with foundational quarterbacks. My most owned player, actually my 2 most owned quarterbacks are Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and now after this past year, it's Jaxson Dart. So we're trying to just make sure we get that next foundational quarterback, that guy that's going to be there. So our criteria is 29 or younger. So that's going to rule out Dak, and that's going to rule out Mahomes, Jared Goff, some guys that are staples. And we're not saying they're bad quarterbacks. We're just saying this next criteria is what's key, is they fit both a contending and a rebuilding asset. They fill both. And Snoog, I think that's the thing that you got to look at is, I don't necessarily want Jared Goff on my team if I'm rebuilding, because 2 years from now, he's going to be 31, 32. I want to flip Jared Goff for a 27 first plus another guy. I don't necessarily want, and I think he'll be fine. I don't want Dak Prescott 2 years from now. I don't want Baker Mayfield 2 years from now, because that value is going to keep decreasing. So that's why we talk about it fits both a contender and a rebuild. And I think 29 is that platform. Mahomes is the GOAT when it comes to just being both ways on that. But I feel a lot more comfortable with Josh Allen than I do Patrick Mahomes in 2 years, just based off of this criteria.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we could have squeezed Mahomes into this show, probably, although he doesn't fit the criteria. He's probably the only exception, Dad, for a guy that we know 8 years from now, he's still going to be elite. But, when you're rebuilding, you feel a lot better, especially if you're trying to rebuild through Jeremiah Smith in 2027, right? You feel a lot better with a Justin Herbert plus or a Caleb Williams plus or some of these guys plus, rather than having Mahomes and get 6 to 7 years of an age gap there. But yeah, love it. Hit it on the head there.
We're looking for guys that have had, QB1 seasons, or they've had multiple QB1 seasons or QB1 upside and have premium trade value. That's really what we're looking at. And when we talk about the 27 class, 26 class quarterbacks are going to be a little bit rough. You got Mendoza, you got Simpson, you got Moore, and then you got some Nussmeier, Sellers. Aller. It's not good. It is going to be a lot of quarterbacks, but I think we'd be lucky to get one foundational quarterback out of that class. 2027, now we're cooking. Arch is going to be in there. There's going to be a lot of guys that really start to pop up in there where you're going to see some foundational quarterbacks. what I really like to look at, and Snoog, the first guy, I mean, we both know who that is. I mean, it's been my QB1. I think I was the first guy in the industry literally to have him as the QB1 because I was about a year and a half ahead. And that's really what's you're shooting for in Dynasty, is to get ahead of the curve. But it's Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen has been absolutely unbelievable. He's a guy that I believe that will maintain that role. He's never finished lower than QB2 overall. So we're going to pull him up here. First thing, Josh Allen, 29 years old. So next year he will not be on this list, which is going to be crazy. You know, we're not going to have Josh Allen as a foundational. He's the only quarterback that I have worth 4 firsts, because you see what happened 2 weeks ago when he had 6 touchdowns. He's now had 49 games, Snoog, where he has scored a rushing and passing touchdown in the same game. No one's ever done that. That's absolute insanity. He is the guy to own. And I think we're starting to get an area where I was trying to trade Josh Allen for Drake Maye plus, because you talk about that next guy, you talk about insulation. That's always what we're trying to do. Drake Maye was the guy that we were hitting on. We'll get to him next. But Josh Allen, is he a guy that you want to invest in down the stretch for 2025?
You're about to see a massive bounce back game against Cincinnati with Josh Allen this week. Like, this is the week for him to get back on track. Dad, he has played probably the worst football I think he's played in the past.
In the last 2 weeks.
5, not even that. I'd say in the past, like, since that year, he threw 15 picks. Like, and he was still QB1 overall. He's been this bad with those weapons, Dad, and he's still the QB1 through 12 weeks. Like, we're seeing his floor. His best weapons, James Cook, is running back. I mean, Keon Coleman's out there running routes. It's just a bag of shit. Like, that Bills whole team is a bag of shit. They're going to fix things. They're going to turn things around, hopefully. I think the best thing for the Buffalo Bills would be missing the playoffs, getting a top 15 to 18 pick somehow, and landing, Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate, a Jordan Tyson, a Kenyon Sadiq, just some playmaker there that they can rely on to be a cornerstone asset, because they haven't had one since Diggs. And outside of Diggs, he's been the only asset that they've ever had that's a capable pass catcher, good at football. All right, like that.
You ready for this, Snoop?
Yeah.
So he finished QB 22 and QB 12 of the last 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Can you guess the last time that Josh Allen finished outside the top 10 QBs back-to-back games? Week 5 of 2020.
Wow.
That's what kind of player we're talking about here. Is like, this is a guy every single week. He's going to put up massive points. He's worth 4 firsts. I have a lot of teams where no one wanted to trade up in startups this year for Josh Allen, and I don't understand it. But I have a lot of shares. I mean, I did 3 Smash Accept leagues, and I got him 101 in all 3, and no one will pay up. The best offer I got was Joe Burrow in a first, and I think he's unlike the wide receivers. Sometimes paying up just doesn't make sense. When it comes to quarterbacks, especially if you play in Smash Accept, type formats where you get that 0.25 PPC, you get 6 points for a rushing touchdown. I mean, Josh Allen's he wins you weeks. I mean, he put up 50 some the other week. He's just that guy that is going to put up insane points. And I think Josh Allen is your set it and forget it Dynasty quarterback 1. This is what's going to shock the world here, Snoog, is you were on him a little bit earlier. When it came to rookie drafts, we were like one of the only ones saying that he belongs in that top 5 discussion. Everybody else was starting to put him up there. But, man, Drake Maye is the truth. He has been phenomenal. A lot of people are going to say, well, what about Lamar? And I said, we got Lamar slightly under because we've had 3 straight games of Lamar Jackson over the last 3 weeks is the quarterback 32, being outscored by Cam Ward. I never thought I'd say that in my life. You know what I mean? Something's not right with him. And he's 5 years older. So, Snoog, I've always been taught, I've always taught everybody after that, if a guy is younger and he's outproducing, Drake Maye is right now belongs in that same tier. And we moved him up. This is the first time that we put him in this, this tier of guys he's the QB5. He's had last couple of weeks, he's been in that QB 12 range, but he had QB2, QB3, QB7. He is doing it with mediocre weapons. And right now I'm willing to pay 3.5 first for Drake Maye. If you give me Drake Maye in a late first for Josh Allen, I'm going to take it right now, because we're starting to see there you're talking about a 6-year age gap. So I would definitely take that. What kind of schedule are we looking at rest away here for Drake Maye?
I mean, it's an absolute cupcake for him the rest of the season. I mean, it's all bad defenses. You got the Giants, you got the Bills again, you got the Ravens, the Jets, the Miami Dolphins. Like, you're going to see
This is a
25
top
plus
5
points.
finish.
This is a top 5 finish, and he's already top 5 through 12 weeks. He's legit. Like, he is baby Josh Allen. I mean, that was my comp for him. It was like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert had a baby coming out of school. I mean, he was my QB2 in that class. I was super high on Drake Maye. Loved that my Patriots took him. You know, it was like, I always got nervous because I was like, shit, like, I know how this is going to go. Like, we're just going to waste a super elite, talented player, build nothing around him like they did his rookie year with Gerard Mayo. It was looking like a crapshoot. They cleaned shop. They got the right coaching staff in. They got the right offensive line put together. They're working on the weapons. They got the run game together with a stud in Travion Henderson. He's Pats are going to be a late first this year, Dad, but I don't know, Concepcion, Denzel Boston, one of these guys slips down there. I don't know, maybe Mekhi Lemon slips because people view him as a slot only, or maybe Jordan Tyson slips because all the injuries he has. You get Drake Maye, a real wide receiver one this offseason, a young foundational asset. Maybe they trade for A.J. Brown. Maybe they make a move like that in the offseason, but he has QB1 overall upside. He hasn't even been that crazy of a rusher this year, which is crazy. Like, he's looking at 500 yards rushing on the season, maybe with a couple of touchdowns. He has 10 touchdown upside as a rusher alone. So he's a gunslinging.
He has, at the beginning, he was running like crazy, you know, and he's kind of tapered that off.
He's easy
but he
to
has
down,
made 32-year-old coming off ACL Stephon Diggs look like a boss. He's done it with Kayshon Boutte. He's done it with Demario Douglas. I mean, like, Hunter Henry is just – this guy is Josh Allen. He's a younger Josh Allen. He's literally – he has the run game. He has the upside there. Not quite as much rushing upside, but get him some weapons. I mean, Josh Allen we've never seen have anybody other than Stephon Diggs. It's kind of ironic that both of these guys, number one wide receivers they've ever had is Stephon Diggs. Talking about guys that don't necessarily have the wide receivers that get it done on their own. I know a lot of people are going to crap on this and say we should drop him further. I cannot. You know, we've seen Lamar Jackson be a top 5 running back. Sorry, that was not a slip. Top 5
running back, though, for sure.
But that's what's held him back. I mean, you look this year, last 3 games, 27, 11, 10, even before that, 36 and 14. That's 5 games in a row, less than 100 total rushing yards for Lamar Jackson. Something ain't right. Since he's come back, he had a really good game against Miami, but you look at QB 15, QB 29, QB 25, QB 25. The schedule the rest of the way starts to look pretty good. I'm still investing 3.5 first in Lamar Jackson. In a rebuild, I just traded, and this sounds backwards. I'm trying to get the 101, but I traded Bryce Young into two mid to late 27 firsts for Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson is the guy you tear up to now because, let's be honest, when we started the season, he was untouchable. Finished 3 straight QB1, QB4, QB3. He had 10 touchdowns plus a bunch of rushing yards. Something just isn't right after that injury against KC. I think we start to see him get fresh down the stretch because the schedule opens up big time for Lamar Jackson.
I know. I mean, he's got Pittsburgh and Cincinnati again the next 2 weeks. The weeks that matter, right? Week 14. Get him in there. Help you clinch the playoffs, or help you clinch not only playoffs, that first, second round bye, or that first, second seed bye for the first round. Mm-hmm. Then the first week, if you don't get the bye, he's got Cincy. I think he's going to have a big bounce back week against Cincinnati. I mean,
I think that's it.
You want to play hypotheticals. He did have 2 big plays called back from touchdowns that weren't his fault, and they were great plays by him. You add those in, he probably drops 25 points last week against the Bengals, gets back on track a little bit. People are scared right now because he had 7 and 6 points against 2 of the worst teams and defenses in the NFL right now in terms of just like what they're doing on defense. Like, they're just getting scorched. Joe Burrow's back. He kind of handled business there against Lamar, but I expect that to be a bounce back shootout. New England, I mean, they have a lot of injuries right now. Again, another game, I think New England versus Baltimore is going to be a shootout game. And then you see Green Bay's tough game in week 17, but Lamar Jackson's had those games against those elite defenses, against those tough opportunities where he doesn't shut up, right? He'll go out there and drop 40 on your head, and it doesn't matter, right? You're playing him the rest of the season. I keep seeing people, I'm benching Lamar Jackson for who? Jacoby Brissett? Like, who are you benching Lamar Jackson for? What are you going to do if Jacoby Brissett goes out there and puts up 5 points and you bench Lamar Jackson who dropped 45? You're going to want to shoot yourself.
I made a comment the other day that you can't, if you have another option, you can't start Lamar right now. But you know what the other side is? you can't sit Lamar. Like, he's going to put up 40 points on your bench and you're going to be pissed. If you have one of those scenarios where you have Matthew Stafford, and I know you and I do, where Matthew Stafford's your QB3. All right, slide him in over
only
Lamar.
one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, if you're thinking about starting Sam Darnold, or you're thinking about starting, so I could see starting Jacoby Brissett, but you're starting to Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud. No, Lamar is that guy. This is your opportunity to buy Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, Drake Maye, Josh Allen are in a tier of their own, in my opinion. And we've changed it up a little bit because what we put for this particular exercise that we're doing is we're talking about these are foundational centerpieces. My tier ends at Lamar. I have Jayden, Jalen in a tier when you're talking about actual dynasty rankings. I have them a tier below, and I think they are premium buys. I have them in a tier below with Patrick Mahomes, and I think that's where they belong. Both of them fantastic producers. Both of them guys that have Jayden's got the injuries. I think if you're a contender, you buy Jalen Hurts all day long. But let's start out here. Let's start out with Jayden Daniels, and let's talk about him a little bit. Okay, 24 years old. I still think he's worth 3 firsts, but I'm a little bit worried. He's going to come back next week, and I think on a rebuilding team, you have an opportunity to get a Brock Purdy, a CJ Stroud plus 2 firsts still. And I would do that because we're starting to see a little bit of a wrinkle. I think sometimes players of his caliber come in, they go crazy. People see the tape a little bit
like
more,
CJ Stroud,
and they catch up. Correct. So now the difference being Drake Maye, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, unguardable. Jalen Hurts in this Eagles offense to me also set it and forget it just because of this offense. But I think Jayden Daniels, if you're rebuilding, you had a good opportunity to buy. I think at this point he's coming back, just like Joe Burrow coming back. Like if you're a rebuilder, you got to at least kick the tires and come up with a plan potentially to trade, because you saw, Marcus Mariota looked great this past week. So there's no real excuse. When I see the backup come in and ball out, I start to get worried a little bit. I start to think to myself, why isn't the starter doing this? You see Jacoby Brissett come in and start dominating in this Arizona offense. Now all of a sudden you're like, wait, what the hell's wrong with Kyler Murray, right? So now you see Mariota, he played really good this week. Talk to me about Jayden Daniels, what you've seen his rookie year, what you've seen this year, and how you value him in Dynasty, because I've always been traditionally a little bit higher on him than you have, but I think we're in a bit of a crossroads here with Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, I think it's more just the injuries and how his frame's holding up. I think that's the only thing really holding him back. Yeah, he was having a little bit of a slump to start off the season. Nothing crazy, though. He was still, 20-plus points in 4 straight weeks as the starter before one of the injuries, and now he has another injury. But he's coming back. He's got the Vikings, the Giants, the Dallas Cowboys in Week 17. Some real big games against some, bad defenses. The Vikings offense is just –
that's what's going to tell you the difference.
Such a crapshoot to me. So I just think that Vikings, I like seeing my team going up against the Vikings. Like, they're just a disaster right now. So I do think he's going to get back on track here. Again, elite rusher, 400 plus points as a rookie, top 5 finish. We saw the upside. He's a good passer as well. Keep getting young weapons to build around with Jayden Daniels, right? Go get Carnell Tate in the draft. They're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think, right? So it's like, go get Mekhi Lemon, go get one of these stud receivers to pair with Terry, pair with Debo. Get a good running back in round 2 or 3 in this draft and really build up this offense for him, because they are a team that could be, I don't think they'll ever be a contender, but I do think they'll always be like just a competitive playoff team, right? And I think that Jayden's still 24 years old, all the tools to be an elite fantasy producer. Like he was untouchable before the season, right? Everyone was trying to put him at QB1 and you can't buy him, this and that. Now you can buy him, right? People are sick of him. People are like, oh, is the frame going to hold up? It's an elbow injury. And then what was it? A foot injury? I forget what the first injury was, but it's nothing crazy. I'm buying everywhere I can.
I'm buying Jalen still. Like, a lot of people just are soured on Jalen Hurts. If you look at him on the season, he's currently the QB3. But if you read narratives, if you read things on fantasy, if you read fantasy Twitter, they'll tell you Jalen Hurts sucks. They've been telling you Jalen Hurts sucks since 2021. I was drafting him everywhere in 2020. I was telling everybody to get him in 2021. Now I have reaping the rewards. He's on 50% of my dynasty teams, and he puts up QB1 weeks every single week. He's had one QB 19, one QB 26. Every other one has been in the top 14. He is there every single week. He's throwing for multiple touchdowns. He's rushed for, 9 touchdowns at this point. And now you're starting to see A.J. Brown starting to come out a little bit. The schedule down the stretch does not scare me at all. I think it's very good. I'm still paying 3 firsts. And the biggest one on that schedule for me that I just get pumped up. Dude, week 17, Bills, Eagles. Oh my gosh.
That's going to be like a 50. That's going to be like a 54 over under.
I might just
Something
go dump
crazy.
my 401k so I can get some seats for that game. But no, for real. In Philly, I think that's going to be a great game. He gets Washington at 16, gets the Raiders in week 15. I even look at Jalen Hurts as QB proof because you see the Chargers and they got a stout pass defense, but it's going to be a high scoring game. No matter what game you get in with the Eagles, they're going to score 25 plus points. I'm tired of people crapping on Jalen Hurts. He's just done it week in and week out.
I mean, 2-time Super Bowl appearance, should have been a 2-time Super Bowl winner as well. I mean, MVP candidate type player. He has 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, Dad. Like
that's what I was just looking at.
Just because he's not the world,
like you complain.
He's one of those. He's not the most flashy passer. He's not the best passer. He makes some stupid decisions, but like he takes care of the football. He puts his team in good situations. He commands the offense. He's an amazing leader. He puts up ridiculous fantasy points. He's a 10 rushing touchdown upside guy every single year. There's nothing to not like about him. He's got the contract. He has Kevin Patullo right now as his offensive coordinator. They clearly don't mesh. That guy's an absolute joke of a play caller with that offense. Like, can't get the run game going. The offensive line's banged up. A.J. Brown's coming to life, though, and I think that Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown are going to be 2 sneaky league winners the rest of the season in fantasy football right now with this schedule 100%. 1 and 2 with the way they've been throwing. Like Jalen Hurts is targeting him now. Like AJ Brown's been lights out and Devontae Smith too. Like things are going to turn around and we've been seeing it despite how ugly it's looked. They're still getting it done.
Lamar's flashier. Don't get me wrong, but Lamar is coming off back to back outside top 24 finishes. Do you know how many times Jalen Hurts has finished outside the top 24 since he became a starter in 2021? Outside of week 18, 3.
That's impressive.
3. And Lamar just did it 3 times in a row. Like I don't count week 18 games because they were just keeping him out there, staying fresh. So this is fun. I mean, we're 20 minutes in. We gushed about these guys because these are the guys that win you championships. When you do a startup, you pound the quarterbacks early before you get the wide receivers, before you get the running backs. These were the guys we're fully invested in this particular group. Then you come to the next group, and these are guys I love, Snoog. These are guys I absolutely love, and we're going from foundational quarterback centerpieces to cornerstones. And the difference for me is your centerpieces. This is the guy that wins me my week every week. Your cornerstone is I can win with these guys. I am perfectly comfortable with these guys being my QB1. What I really want to talk to everybody before you start saying, well, I have Dart over this guy, Burrow over this guy, Caleb over that guy, Herbert. I don't care. This tier, interchangeable to me. Pick who you like. You know what I mean? I have Dart higher than most people. Snoog has Caleb higher than most people. But what you look at here is they're all in that area. Every single one of these guys is 28 and younger. Every single one of these guys throws for 2 touchdowns a week. Caleb's a little bit more up and down. You know what I mean? But you're going to get a nice rushing floor from 3 out of these 4. Burrow's going to throw the rock like crazy. These are guys that finish top 12 every single year. They're your set it and forget it. And I think people start to undervalue a guy like Justin Herbert because they're like, well, he's not putting up 45 points in a week. They see the games that some of these other guys have. But all 3 of the 3, I should say 4. But, I mean, you look at right now, Justin Herbert, QB8. There's nothing wrong with being the QB8 on the season. He's 27 years old. I say that this tier, Snoog, I'm not paying 3 firsts. I would pay 3 late first, but I say this more as a 2.5 first. And a lot of people get on my case. They're like, Dad, there's no such thing as 2.5 firsts. It's 2 first plus. You know what I mean? That's really what we're looking for. Not quite 3 firsts. I want an asset here that is going to give me production plus and then some first. But yeah. Let's talk about Justin Herbert because I know you've loved him since day one. He's been that guy. I think he looked great. He showed a lot of moxie this past week, being injured, jumping right out there, looking good despite having that. He got stepped on there. He had that wrist or hand injury. Justin Herbert has been phenomenal. A lot of people really mocked me in the beginning of the year because I traded Dak and Jacobs for Herbert on the team where I was just trying to get younger, have some longevity. I got a second thrown back in, but he's been fantastic. The schedule the rest of the way is a little tough. He's got that big Dallas game in 16, but you see Philly, KC, Houston. This is a tough schedule. Do you trust him as a top 10 quarterback the rest of the way?
Philly's going to be tough. I love the KC and Dallas matchups for him. I think those are going to be really good shootouts, weaker defenses.
Well, KC,
I think they put things together.
Yeah.
Hopefully Hampton's back for that. The biggest killer to Justin Herbert this year that I think held him back from potentially like an MVP type of year statistically is losing Amari and Hampton and losing both of his starting tackles and one of his interior offensive linemen. Like that whole, like having an elite run game with that elite stout offensive front with the weapons he has on the perimeter, they would have been a really solid team. Injuries kind of held them back, slowed their momentum to start the season, but 8-4 team. I mean, Herb's a top 8 QB without that. So I think we're seeing, a guy that just gets it done no matter what, right? You can have all the excuses in the world for any of the QBs. You can have more for Justin Herbert, and he always gets it done as a top 10 to 15 quarterback, even top 5 to 8. We've seen the upside. He's been rushing more this year than ever. I mean, KC Dallas, those are 25 plus Justin Herbert weeks, in my opinion. I mean, if you just look at week 1 alone, he had 33 against the Chiefs. That was one of his 5 30-plus point games this year in 6-point passing. He has that high ceiling upside. And then he also consistently can give you a floor of 18 to 25. So big Justin Herbert guy, still just 27 years old. He's literally one of the best talented passers in the NFL.
Currently third in the NFL in rushing yards. And you look at him and Josh Allen, it's kind of uncanny. As he has 10 more yards than Josh Allen passing. He has 2 more touchdowns, both of them 10 interceptions, which is a little bit on the high side. Almost the same amount of rushing yards. He's got 50, but Josh has those 11 rushing touchdowns where Justin's only got 1. And I think Justin's really been a solid scrambler, a guy that's going to get you extra points. I think that's made him extremely viable. And if we're talking scrambling, we're talking rushing yards. You got to talk about the guy that has the most rushing yards per game as a quarterback. No one more polarizing than Jaxson Dart. Okay. I don't want to take too many victory laps on this show, but you were saying before anybody that he's going to be a round 1 draft pick. I was saying before anybody, we're taking him round 1 in Superflex. It's paid off. I mean, at this point, he's worth 2.5 first. You could argue that he's been better than Caleb Williams in the early part of his career because of the rushing. But then if we didn't see the injuries, right? If we didn't see where we have Jackson, if he just played straight through and didn't have those injuries, honestly, he's above Herbert for me. Like, that's how good he's been on a per game basis. I mean, you look at him, he had QB 11 against the Chargers, QB 16 against the Saints, QB 3 against the Eagles, QB 3 against Denver.
Two elite defenses right there. Those are 2 of the best defenses in the NFL, top 5 defenses right there.
QB 13 against Philly, 2 top 13 finishes. Then you see him QB 7 against San Fran, QB 3 against the Bears. And he has been just a rushing machine. Good. You look at him, he's got 2 touchdowns, 1. I mean, that's 5 straight games. And then there was one before that. So 6 out of his 7 starts, he scored a rushing touchdown. If there was no injuries, let's be honest, we'd be talking about him as the next Josh Allen. You'd be like, okay, this guy has, and just like Drake Maye in his rookie season, who the hell is he throwing to? Wan'Dale Robinson, Slayton, Theo Johnson. Get Malik Neighbors back in the mix. Get a guy in free agency here. Get some weapons for Jaxson Dart, because this guy has all the tools. He makes the throws like Mahomes. He makes the rushing plays like Josh Allen. If he can stay healthy, this guy's the real deal. And he's got a decent schedule rest of the way.
I mean, 7 rushing touchdowns in 7-8 games. I mean, you see that upside there. Love the talent, love the player. He's just a ball player, right? Like watching his film in college. Tough player, can make all the throws downfield, had that rushing upside, good at escaping sacks. Just screamed to me a fantasy football machine in the right situation. That if we saw him with Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterable healthy, all this offense healthy, they're going to be scary. And the best thing about the Giants is they're getting another top 5 pick, maybe even top 3 this year. Like, I mean, look at this. New England, probably another loss. Washington, probably a loss. Minnesota, probably a loss. They could grab one from the Raiders.
Everybody beats Minnesota right now.
They're going to lose they're probably going to lose to Dallas. Like, they're going to get a top 3 to 5 pick. Go get yourself a cornerstone offensive tackle. Shit. Maybe even they get cute with it and they go draft another wideout, right? A Carnell Tate, a Mekhi Lemon to pair with Malik Neighbors and load up this offense. Probably not going to happen, but could, with that. But he has the situation. He has the weapons. He has the rushing upside. He checks every damn box. I mean, you saw it from a fantasy points per game perspective, clearing 24, 25 points a game when starting. Great schedule rest of the season, week 15 on. One thing I want to hit on, Dad, is everyone says, well, it's hard to buy Jaxson Dart now. You want to know how you buy Jaxson Dart? You go to the team that's in 6th, 7th place fighting for a playoff spot. You go, say you have a Bo Nix, say you have a Brock Purdy, say you have a Jordan Love, say you have a CJ Stroud. They need someone week 14. Jaxson Dart has his bye week. That's the perfect opportunity for you to say, Brock Purdy in a second, give me Jaxson Dart, right? Lamar Jackson for Drake May or Jalen Hurts for Drake May or any of those type of moves. You have leverage right there.
I've been looking at all the teams. I love how we think because I've been looking at all the week 14 teams that have Drake May, and I'm like, I'm never going to get him. But if they're right there, right, I'm going to do it. What's even better, to one-up you on that one, you go and you get Drake May and they're first, and then you give them Jalen Hurts and a wide receiver that's on your bench. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden they don't make the playoffs, and then you get the 106 and Drake May. And that's how winning is done. Hey, speaking of a guy that I was buying everywhere in the offseason, I was buying everywhere when he got hurt. I mean, this has literally been his only full start this past week, and he finished QB 10, 24 for 46, 2 touchdowns against Baltimore. Joe Burrow scares me the most on this list because he's 28. He's just an insane amount of injuries. I mean, he missed. We had the turf toe. Last year, we saw him play all year, and he finished as QB 2? But then he finished out 2023 with 6 games being injured. 2022, he played healthy. He's on that every other year. Every other year, Joe Burrow is unbelievable. Joe Burrow is when you talk about pure arm talent, he's in a tier up the very top. Joe Burrow's phenomenal. When you talk about weapons, he's at the top. When you talk about offensive line, okay, that's the worry. That's always been the worry with Joe Burrow. And I think we have a decent schedule rest of the way. I want to take a look at what we have here because he's an interesting one because I think you can buy him and sell him right now. I'm like, Joe Burrow is at this point where we're starting to look at, okay, are you a contender? Aren't you a contender? He's 28 years old. That's that crossroad. He's got Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami, Arizona. 3 of those 4 look like potential shootouts.
I love it. I love that schedule. I mean, one of the easiest schedules rest of the season from a defensive perspective and a fantasy football perspective. I mean, week 15 through 17, we've seen what he's historically done against Baltimore. We've seen what he gets into with Buffalo, Miami, and Arizona. Like, he's going to light these teams up with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins back, Chase Brown there. Best thing about Joe Burrow long-term, Dad. Yeah, the injuries are a little, not the most ideal, but I'm not worried about it for the type of player he is, caliber of player, the pocket passer that he is. But the defense is awful. And until they fix that, he's going to be put in situations where he's Justin Herbert, he's Dak Prescott the past few years where you're forced to throw the ball 50, 60 times a game, 45, 50, 55, right? You got to be the guy that's out there making plays, throwing for 300, 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. We've seen it plenty of times last year. He was arguably one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best from a performance standpoint last year. Wasn't in MVP talks as much because the team sucked, but he's that good of a player, that good of a situation offensively. Like, we don't realize how grateful we should be that Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We saw Joe Flacco go out there and drop 30, 40-point games. Like, that's the type of situation he's in offensively. Build that offensive lineup, and he's going to be good for the next 5 to 10 years.
Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson both get right in a shootout in 2 weeks. That Baltimore, you look at what Joe Burrow has 11 passing touchdowns in his last 3 games against Baltimore. That's going to be your shootout that is going to win you your weeks. You know what I mean? That's your week 15. If you're looking for that guy that you need to buy for week 15 is Joe Burrow. He's going to throw for 4 touchdowns. That's just what he does against that team. We got to talk about Caleb Williams because you've seen him literally put up 6 games of 30 fantasy points. You've also seen him put up 5 games of outside the top 20. So he is the most volatile asset in this group. The talent is something that you and I have believed in long term. They've had a lot of windows to buy, but man, the talent is just unbelievable. The weapons are unbelievable. The Ben Johnson offense. Are we over enticed by some of these plays, or is Caleb going to turn the corner? what you really want to see from him is have that when those QB1 weeks, those are great. But when you see those QB 23, 22, 24, 27, the elite guys don't have that. The elite guys, yeah, you see, but over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of his last 8 games, he's finished as a top 10 rushing quarterback. So he's starting to put that in there. We haven't seen his rushing ceiling, and we haven't seen his consistency ceiling, but sell me on Caleb because a lot of people are starting to sour. I every single time when we post about Caleb Williams or we put him in this tier, people get mad.
Yeah, I mean, 27, 27, 44, 21, 37, 20, 26. Like, you want to talk about the highs, he's a top 3 to 5 quarterback. You want to talk about the lows, 11, 4, 11, 13. That's what's going to come with a player that's his second year in the NFL in a brand new offense, a very complex offense with Ben Johnson, trying to figure things out. Like, we knew the inconsistencies were going to be there. We knew it was going to be growing pains in this Ben Johnson offense. It's like that, right? It gets his first offense. You saw Jared Goff in his first few weeks with Ben Johnson. Then when he started to pick up the rhythm, he was lights out. Caleb just needs to keep hitting that 40 to 50 rushing yard game. And if he does, that's an extra 4 or 5 points on top of him being a good passer. Like, it's there. What am I concerned about, Dad? The fact that he has Green Bay, Cleveland, and Green Bay the next 3 weeks.
Gross. It's bad.
But then he has San Fran in week 17 and Detroit in week 18. So those are going to be 2 big games for him. But this is a real testament of what Caleb Williams can do in this offense against these teams, because it's the latter half of the year. They're, first seed right now. They got 2 of the toughest defenses in 3 weeks. So it's definitely something that they need.
And the tricky part is his only 3 games that he faced a top 5 pass defenses, top 10 is Minnesota and Philly. And those are the 3 games that he really did not excel. Now, the first game against Minnesota, he played well, but the last 2, that's where it was. This list right here, these are the guys I'm buying. I'm tearing down. I'm tearing down from Jalen. I'm tearing down from Jayden. I'm not tearing down from Maye, but I would tear down from Lamar. I think you can get Lamar and one of these guys for a mid-27 and a mid-27 first. And I think these guys all have that opportunity. If one of these guys, I don't think we're going to see it at this point in the year, but next year, Caleb, Dart could easily ascend into that next tier if they both finish out the year real well. They have a good offseason. There's a lot of things going on. So the next part here, and this is what we talk about. A lot of times people end the list right there. Now we want to talk about foundational value quarterbacks. And yes, you're going to say Dak Prescott isn't here. Jared Goff isn't here. Baker Mayfield isn't here. They belong here as far as value themselves. I value them in the same tier, if not better than most of these guys here. The difference is these guys have seen some injury discounts. These guys have seen some weapons that aren't quite performing. They're in that 27 and under range. I want to talk about these guys because this is where you could start to make your money. We talk about that in Dynasty a lot, is believing in one of these guys, tearing down. If let's say you really believe in CJ Stroud and you get CJ Stroud in a mid to early 27 first for Justin Herbert, in a year from now, it could be a huge win. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you we know that Stroud was all the way up as a Dynasty QB1. You could have traded him for Herbert and a pair of firsts. And now you're at a spot where you can trade him. The talent is there. But let's start talking about these guys on an individual basis because I don't want to just completely skip out of order. The first guy I have on this list, it's not flashy. It is not flashy, but it's Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, 25 years old. I think he's worth 2 firsts. If I'm saying in next year's class, and this is where things change, but he's better than any quarterback in next year's class.
Yeah.
So, if you need a quarterback, I'd be willing to trade 104, 105. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All these guys, I think if I really was quarterback needy, I would be willing to trade 104, 105. And I think we're too late first. And that's really where we're at. Because next year's class, you're not really getting a lot when it comes to foundational quarterbacks. And Brock Purdy is one of those guys. Brock Purdy, this past week, I'm going to throw this out the window. 40-mile-an-hour winds, not necessarily something that we were going to be able to see a lot of production. But I think Brock Purdy has shown enough over his career that he's a guy you can trust in the playoffs. He's my perfect quarterback too, right? You pair him with Josh Allen because Josh Allen's going to put up 40 weeks. Brock's just always right there. He always puts up a nice solid floor. He puts up nothing crazy flashy this year, but talk to me about Brock Purdy because I love him. I mean, you look at him,
Yeah.
he's had 25, 25, 27, 12, 21, and his schedule's not too bad down the stretch.
I mean, he's literally just younger Baker Mayfield to me, right? You get he's literally Baker Mayfield 5 years younger in a better situation offensively, in my opinion. He's got Shanahan, he has CMC, he has George Kittle. I don't know what the hell's happening with Ayuk. I don't know what's happening with Pearsall not being great. He's got Jennings there. They're probably drafting a wide receiver this year in the first round. I think. Like I could see this team being. Imagine they take a Carnell Tate, or they take a Makai Lemon, or they take a Jordan Tyson, or they take a Concepcion, Denzel Boston. One of these guys. Like I think they'd be a phenomenal fit for it. They're probably going to pick in the early 20s, late teens, probably in my opinion. I mean, like you said, Dad, he's got the weapons, he's got the contract, he's got the situation, he's got the offensive line and the coach. He's got another bye week this week, but then he's got Indy, Tennessee, and Chicago. I'm licking my chops with those 3 games right there. Those are 25-plus point upside games for him this week.
I'm glad you were talking about the 2026 wide receiver class because I really like it. Like we're starting to dig in. This is the time of year you join the Patreon. There's a link right below. Patreon.com/smash accept. Get yourself in there try it out for $5 a month. You know, if you like it, move up into the tiers. But this is the time of year where you start to take your fantasy football, your dynasty teams as a serious investment. You know, like where your advisors for your roster, for your trades, for your start sits. I don't know how many comments I got from people this week. They're like, Dad, you suggested that we should play Jacoby Brissett this week, and we won our league because of it. You know what I mean? And there were like all these little things where why not give it a go? You have a group of over 1,000 people in there talking shop all the time. Patreon.com/smash accept. We're going to get you guys in position to dominate your draft. If you're tired of drafting Quentin Johnstons, Dalton Kincaid's, guys that are just not getting it done for you, we're here. We've hit big in the past couple of months on guys in the past couple of years. We've put you in position. So just a quick plug there. Quick plug on Jordan Love. Absolutely. Jordan Love, he's 27 years old. So again, at a crossroads, but damn, did he look good against Detroit. Like he lit it up and showed. You and I were talking about this a lot because Love was a guy that I was buying for early seconds, late firsts before his breakout. And we've seen both sides of it. But the running game is so good. The weapons are so bad. Matthew Golden disappeared the entire year. You know, I think he took his rookie year off. He's just like, you know what, Coach, I've had enough of this. I don't want this. You know, Jayden Reed hasn't played pretty much the whole year.
I think he's
Romeo
the best
Dobbs.
Him and Tucker Kraft him and Tucker Kraft are their best options. I think Wicks is good, but he's inconsistent.
Watson's been on fire, but you're right. Without Kraft, but he's been good. That's what I'm saying is like he's reminding me, he's in Green Bay. He's reminding me a lot of early Rodgers where it's like, okay, we're just going to make guys better. But then when you got a Jordy Nelson, when you got Greg Jennings stepped up. But I mean, over the last 6 weeks, QB1, QB 24, 24, 8, 26, 2. Very inconsistent, very much like Caleb. But look at the playoff schedule down the stretch. He gets Chicago this week. Denver's tough, but then he gets Chicago and Baltimore in 16 and 17. Both of those potential smashes. Are you making an offer? Are you trying to tear down off of one of those guys up above where you're like, this is pretty juicy? Or do you not trust Jordan Love?
No,
because it's been like boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust.
Yeah.
I think he's he's got some smash potential.
3 out of the 4 games coming up all the way through the championship is just smashed. You know, situations
against the Bears, everybody
crap defenses and shootout games, right? My biggest fear with Jordan Love is I think he's getting a little bit obviously like LaFleur and their offensive line is light years ahead of the Texans and what their offensive scheme looks like and how they operate. He's giving me Stroud vibes in the sense of they're going to win games with him doing very little. And you can see it on his numbers here. Jordan Love in the past, like Stroud, was a guy 300, 400, 280, consistently throwing for that. Ever since the Texans defense took that next step, ever since the Packers defense took the next step, 139, 174, 176, 179, 183, 188. A lot of games without a touchdown, a lot of games with 1 touchdown, a lot of games with nothing, right? But you're going to get the spike weeks more consistently with Jordan Love because this offense works. They get the people open when they're in the red zone, like you saw in the last week against Detroit. All Detroit does is play that man coverage, tight coverage. You saw 2 pylon outside fucking hitch routes. You saw a bunch of good stuff that the Packers do that the Texans do not do. instead of running the ball 3 times and then kicking a field goal, they can actually operate. They throw slants. They attack the middle of the field. They're doing the right stuff, right? You see man coverage. All right, what do we know works? They're attacking the middle of the field. They're doing the stuff that works, screen passes, all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you see with the LaFleur offense that can keep Jordan Love in those spike week games despite having such an elite defense. Because a lot of the times when you have a defense like that, you don't need to do too much to put the game away, right? You just need to make the right decisions, make plays when you need to. We saw Mahomes be like that for the past 3 years, Dad. And now he's not like that because the defense sucks. So you saw it, but that's the only fear I have with Jordan Love a little bit there. But, I mean, he's a gunslinger. He's going to have big weeks, and he's fun. Kraft Reed back next year. It's going to be big.
The next guy, and I mean, I'm in 23 leagues, and I don't own a single share
of
Bo Nix. But he has those boom weeks. He has, like, again, we're not talking anything elite. There's no elite weapons here. Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, like Evan Ingram, RJ Harvey. Like, there's no elite groups here, but you see him. I mean, he's had a game with 5 touchdowns. I mean, he's got multiple 2-touchdown games. He's got a solid rushing floor at certain times in his career. I think he's worth 2 firsts, but I struggle with this. You and I know that QBs 10 to 15, I don't own a lot of them. I go all in with your Josh, your Drakes, your Lamars, your Darts, or I go to the bottom and you give me Stafford, Dak, Jacoby Brissett, like something like that. I just tend to not own a lot of Bo Nix. I don't want to crap on him because we have a lot of Broncos fans that listen to the show and they're always like, Dad, you're too low on Bo Nix. And I get it. Like, he's been good. I don't feel good putting him in my lineup. I just don't. Yeah. And I don't know why. Like, would you sell Joe Burrow for Bo Nix in a mid-27 first? Like, that's what I'm teetering with to try to get a share, because you're getting him, but he's 25. He's not 23 like the other guys in his class, and he's not, I just struggle buying.
He has like a little bit of sneaky upside with the rushing, which I kind of like about him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a fine player. I think he gets more hate than he deserves. I think Penix was light. I think Penix and McCarthy were so much worse than Bo Nix from a talent perspective. I mean, you look at the schedule the rest of the way. He's got Vegas, Jacksonville, and KC. 3 games I'm loving. Green Bay is very tough. I hate seeing Green Bay on the schedule, especially for a QB and
anybody,
a running back. Yeah. But I mean, Bo Nix, again, like I said with Jordan Love, like I said with CJ Stroud, the defense is so good. He doesn't have to be a superhero every game for them to win the game. He just needs to be throw 180 to 250 yards, make sure the run game's working, and don't throw picks. And like, that's literally all he needs to do for them to win games. But Sean Payton is a big step above, Nick Caley and DeMeco Ryans and Mike LaFleur, right? Like, Sean Payton is one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the past decade. He knows how to run a system. He knows how to build around a team. Even if it's with a bunch of misfits, he gets it done. Bo Nix, another guy I would love to see land, a Carnell Tate, land a Kyle Lemon, land one of these guys. It's not going to happen because their record's too good, but maybe Denzel Boston, Kevin Concepcion, maybe they're in the, a big trade target for an A.J. Brown or one of these guys. But, yeah, another guy.
What I'm doing if I have Bo Nix right now is I'm trading Bo Nix for a mid-27 first and Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett now has multiple touchdowns in 7 straight starts. He's the guy to buy. If I'm trying to tier up, I would add a late first to get to Jaxson Dart, just because I feel like you have so much more upside. You get 3 years younger. You got that name cachet. And I kind of feel the same way about CJ Stroud, but not because of the talent, because of this schedule the rest of the way. This is the worst schedule of anybody that we're talking about. But I think you can use this to your advantage to buy CJ Stroud, because I think 2026 CJ Stroud is a top 12 quarterback. I believe in the talent. I just hate this schedule. This is brutal, Snoog. Like, you get KC, Arizona, you get a little reprieve with Las Vegas, but then you get the Chargers. This is tough. Like, and you look at a quarterback here who's had 1 top 12 finish, 2 top 12 finishes the entire year. The rest of them have been somewhere in the 20s. So sell me on CJ Stroud, because I'm in the mood to buy right now. I'm literally starting to mentally, it's more of a vibe thing. It's more of a gut check. It's more of a feeling. Yeah. But I'm starting to really believe CJ Stroud is going to turn the corner back to where he was with a full offseason in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, from a protection standpoint, I think the offensive line's playing the best it's played since his rookie year. The only issue, Dad, is they're still just bozos, like 5-6 penalties, like stalling out drives, killing big plays, killing touchdowns. Like that's just the stuff
Straight
that they
bozos.
need to clean up. From a weapon standpoint right now, everybody's healthy, right? Like even like Nico Collins is playing great. He's healthy. Stroud's wheeling and dealing. I mean, he had that awful pick that he threw. Again, awful play call, in my opinion. You're throwing one guy running a route with 2 safeties over the top in a corner following. It's just bad play, bad throw, bad decision there, in my opinion, there with the context in the game. But like outside of that, he was picking that defense apart all day long. Attacking the middle of the field, the quick throws, the quick releases. Nico Collins screwed him out of a 30-yard touchdown because he wanted to step out of bounds like an idiot. Nico should have had an even bigger day than he had. But, I mean, from like an accuracy and sniping standpoint, he was playing lights out, in my opinion. And honestly, his past 5 to 6 starts, I think, have been the best football he's played since probably the playoffs last year. Before that, his rookie season, just throwing the ball in the offensive line. But Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel are going to be the key to Stroud taking the next step as a passer and as a fantasy producer. He was averaging, Dad, 20 to 30 rushing yards a game a lot of this year. I want to see more of that, more of him using his legs to get 2, 3, 4 points a game added on. But right now, he's more of a rebuilding piece until we can really get an identity of what this offense is going to be.
If you guys want to be part of this, again, patreon.com/SmashAccept. When it comes to our show, we are literally, we pride ourselves on dynasty process. Right? It's process over results. But when you do that process time and time and time again, you're going to put yourself in position to really 4 and 5x your investments with you do things like this, our foundational quarterback building blocks. Again, to recap, we're looking at guys 29 or younger, fit both rebuild or contenders, QB1 upside, or have had multiple QB1 seasons. And they're guys that, have extreme trade possibilities. That first tier that we're looking at, we're talking about guys like Josh Allen, Drake Maye, Lamar Jackson, Jayden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. These are the guys that in the offseason, Snoog and I are going to be hammering home saying draft your quarterbacks early because quarterbacks maintain their value. And all of these guys have either increased in value or absolutely maintained their value. We talk about the foundational quarterback cornerstones. These are the guys that you want to be trading for right now because these guys, Snoog, I think for the next 5 to 8 years are going to dominate the position of quarterback. And I love every single one of these guys. And then we talk about, your value picks. And these are the guys that you're going to try to get at, you insulate down off the tier above and get a mid-27 first and feel really good about it because all of them have the talent to move up. I love talking about process. I love talking about these type of players because what we do and what we love to do. And Snoog and I were sharing this backstage as we were talking about, you know what? The redraft season's almost over, and Snoog and I love it. We're like, it's dynasty time. We're talking about already making our 26 rosters better so we win even more. You look at it. I mean, last year I had 20 leagues. I had 17 finished in the top 16 finished in the top 3, 1 in the middle, and 3 got the 101. This year, I might miss the playoffs in 1 league, but the rest of them are top 3, bottom 3. That's the process Snoog and I do with our own rosters. And that's why this podcast works because him and I have shared that with you guys. If you guys want to be a part of that and get in our heads a little bit more than just the show, we got the trade show on Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We got the Patreon here. Snoog, I'm just getting giddy talking about 26 rookies because we didn't like the class, but you and I are starting to find some prospects we really like here. We're starting to think about how to get the guys that we want, how to trade for the guys that we want in 2026, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're going to really focus on, that top 4, right? It's looking like that. You want to be in that top 4. Last year, it was you want to be in that top 5, right? This year, it's going to be you want to be in that top 4 for the class. So I'm really excited about this one. We're gonna dive deep into it and break down how you should be moving in tiers.
I like 5 to 8 too, because you're going to get some opportunities. One of your quarterback might be in there. Sadiq's in there. Coleman, Haynes. There's going to be some nice players in there with the right landing spots. It's just an exciting time. So thanks again for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the process.